So good morning, class of 2024. As you start your journey with us here at the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science at Ryerson, it is always our joy to meet each one of you in person. But because of our care and concern for you, we are putting in place all the precautions recommended for everyone's safety at this time. That's why the next step of your Ryerson University's journey is unique, because we are offering it for the very first time virtually. So I would like to welcome everybody from anywhere in the world that you are watching us today. I would like to welcome you in the land which Ryerson University sits on, which is Toronto. And Toronto is the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon territory is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississauga, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent indigenous nation and people, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, in the spirit of friendship, and in the spirit of respect. So in the next half hour, we're going to be, or next few hours actually, I will introduce you. First of all, my name is Lamia Amli. I'm the first year engineering office director and advisor. And first year engineering office is essentially all to do with student services and student support, and I'll be talking further to you about it later. So the university will become your home in the coming months and years, and we are excited to receive you as part of our community. Our student body is diverse and vibrant. Our beautiful University SLC Student Learning Center offers almost 24/7 study and fellowship spaces, and it is a thriving hub of our campus life. The richness of our campus life includes the Mattamy Athletic Center, the MAC, the Recreation and Athletic Center, the RAC, the Zone Learning for creative and innovative projects, and many student societies and organizations. In short, we thrive to offer you education for all of your life. Now, I'm going to introduce you to RES, which is Ryerson Engineering Student Society, to perform some traditions, and then our motivational speaker will come, motivational speaker Blake, and after that we will have an address from the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science to give you some welcoming remarks, and then you will get to have a break, a stretch break with the RAC, and without further ado, I will now leave or pass the floor to your Ryerson Engineering Student Society. So I would like to call on Alex and Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Amli. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me.
I hear you, yes, but I don't see the slides are changing.
No, we don't have a slideshow for this. It's all traditions. We got our voices.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Dr. Amli mentioned, my name is Stephen. I am the president of the Ryerson Engineering Student Society, and I have Alex, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, yeah, my name is Alex Costas. I am the chair of EngSoc for this year, which is a group underneath Ryerson Engineering Student Society, and we organize FROSH.
So the Ryerson Engineering Student Society is your student government for your 4 years here at Ryerson while you're an undergraduate engineering student. We're the ones that are going to be organizing FROSH Week for you from Tuesday through Friday, and we're also going to be here to support you the entire time while you're here at Ryerson. And one of the ways that we're doing that, I'm very excited to tell you all that READY, the Ryerson Engineering Digital Initiative, is going to be launching tomorrow at 12 p.m. And I want you all to go take a look at it once that launches to see how we're going to be supporting you while you're transitioning into Ryerson. And Frosh Week is also one of our transition programs. We're going to help you interact with everyone here on campus virtually. And Alex can tell you more on that.
Yeah, so like I said, I am the chair of EngSoc. The Engineering Spirit and Orientation Committee is the group that organizes Frosh Week for you, and we are underneath RES. So all of it is student run by us and RES to give you the best introduction here to campus. Your time with us on at our community starts now, and the most important thing I want to tell you is that everyone here in attendance right now has the opportunity to make a huge difference on their life. Every group that you'll see this week, whether it's a student team, a committee, the FYEO, RES, or EngSoc, they're all here to see you thrive. We all have opportunities for you to make this experience at university something truly special. All you have to do is take it. EngSoc is running the student part of Frosh Week starting at 4:30 p.m. today. You should have all had an email in your Ryerson emails. If not, you can go to our Instagram at RyEngSoc and see more info. But I want to tell you to please take the chance to come out, get to know each other, talk with each other, meet new people, meet people in your grade or in your year, above your year, and everybody in between. This semester may look different than what you're used to, but university is all about new experiences and making the best out of them. I joined EngSoc and I now run it because I truly believe that the best time you can have coming into school is right now. Everyone on my team believes that, and the 80+ leaders that we have ready to meet you and show you everything to do with our community that we love are all believers in that as well. All of them are here on their own free time to show you around this community that we love, the traditions that we love, and the stories that we cherish. Involve yourself and take opportunities. I really urge you to try everything. Come out to Frosh and meet people, get to know our traditions and stories. And I just want to end, my mentor, when I came into school first year, told me something that stuck with me. He said, this can be the most boring 4 years of your life or the best 8 years. And while I'm sure a lot of you probably share my view that spending that much time might be a little long, and I definitely don't intend to, the sentiment rings true. Make the most of your time here. It all starts now. Get out, try things, involve yourself, and I hope to see you soon. And with that, I will happily introduce Blake Fly, the motivational speaker.
Okay, I will take now, I will introduce Blake. Okay, Blake is a huge fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he is heavily lactose intolerant, and his favorite movie is admittedly The Notebook. Blake spent nearly a decade living in working in university residence as a research assistant, Don and a residence manager, and had over 6,000 roommates during his life. Blake has been a TEDx conference host, a featured TEDx speaker, and is the author of the Campus Life Guide. Blake's work has been featured on CTV, Breakfast Television, the National News, and has shared the stage with CBC's Rick Mercer. Blake's family means the world to him, and his partner, Emily, is the girl that he plans to cook craft dinner for over the next 75 years. Please welcome Blake Fly.
I brought a lot of things with me when I began university, but about 3 items stood out in particular. For starters, there was the backpack necessary for the academic success. So for those of you tuned in right now, nod your head by yourself at home or wherever you are in the world if you know you've got some schoolwork to do this year. First item I brought was my backpack. But the second item that I brought, it was more for my social success, so that it would help me fit in among all these other new people who I hadn't really been around before. So the second item that I brought was the following. Yep, you're watching me right now, thinking to yourself, you took a bear to university? You might be thinking to yourself, you took a bear to university? And you also might be thinking to yourself, I'm at home right now, so I have my bear. But regardless of where you are in the world right now and how you are tuned into this right now, I knew that I was going to bring a few key items to be successful in this new chapter of my life. But the third item that I brought, I only packed up because a friend of mine in high school said to me, Blake, if you take one of these things with you, people will be more likely to be your friend. So I figured it was worth a shot. And this was the third item that I brought with me to campus. My guitar. Except the problem was that at that time in my life, I didn't really know how to play the guitar. But my logic was simple. If I just roamed around the building, the residence that I was living in, on the first day of first year in university, if I just roamed around the building carrying my guitar, friends would flock towards me. Now, although you are not in a building with fellow students, and although you are currently tuned in virtually, the themes of this will apply in ways that you don't even know. So I began on that first day of first year, roaming the residence hall with my guitar, trying to find one new friend. So I just played absolute nonsense because I didn't really know what I was doing. And this is how it went. I start walking. No friends. But I kept walking. Nothing. I realized this was a stupid idea. I only knew like 4 chords on this thing. Who was I kidding? But then you see, I heard this thumping from back down the hallway. Specifically thumping from a sound system, meaning there was music being played, meaning there was maybe a party being had, meaning maybe this is where my future friends were hanging out, they just had not met me yet. So for the sake of this story right now on screen, let's say that the center of this shelf is the entrance to the party room. I put my shoulders back and I start walking towards the party room. I'm approaching the door. I'm in front of the door. I have now passed the door. Stupid idea. Who was I kidding? So in that moment, I was about to go back to my room to hang out with my one friend who I just introduced you to, the teddy bear. Except, just as I was about to give up on this idea of making new friends on campus, I heard this voice bellow from that room I had just walked by. Whoa! That guy had a guitar! So I looked down. I was the guy with the guitar. So attempting to play it cool, I walked back towards the party room. What's up? Dude, you have a guitar. Come in here and play us a song. Now, this was a problem because, like I've already told you, I didn't really know how to play any songs at that time in my life. I just brought the guitar because a buddy of mine said it was a good idea, and I figured, hey, whatever, it's worth a shot. But fortunately, I learned this emergency song on the guitar in case a social situation like this presented itself. So I brought in the only 4 chords I knew how to play at that time in my life. And while you right now are tuned in on a laptop, on a tablet, on a phone, whether you're sitting at home, sitting on a bench, sitting near campus, sitting in Toronto, sitting somewhere on a different continent in this moment, I'm going to play you the 4 chords right now that I fortunately learned days before university. Standing in front of my new friends, I bring in the chords. The only song I knew how to play at that time in my life was this cliche guitar song. It's this song that was old even when I played it on that day. It was like 10 years old at the time, so I didn't know if anybody on the first day of school would have known this. But it seemed like some people did. And in case you right now are wondering, Blake, what the heck song is this? Well, it's this old school song called Wonderwall by this band called Oasis. In case you are new to this song, allow me to give you a quick little history lesson on it and how this applies to engineering. Well, it doesn't technically apply to engineering, but here's a quick little history lesson on the song. Wonderwall is that song that at every bonfire all over the world, when there's people gathered around and someone has a guitar, there's always one person who says the dangerous words at that bonfire that sound like this. I know how to play Wonderwall. I was that guy. I was the Wonderwall playing guitar player on the first day of university, and I barely even knew what I was doing. And then in that moment, as I was about to bring in the lyrics, the host of that party, he stopped me. Dude, we can't even see you. Get up on the bed. Now, this was a new problem. And you might be wondering right now, tuned in to me on this screen, thinking, why would someone tell you to get up on the bed and play your guitar? Well, here's why. Because that was a residence room in a building that might have had about, I don't know, room for about 5 people socially. It had a bed, a desk, a window, a bed, a desk, the same window. So again, it would have about room for 5 people socially. But on this first day of first year in university, in that moment, there was about 35 people socially. And in this moment, I realized that was a different time on the planet because 35 people were hanging out in one room and it was safe to do so. And it's a different time for you right now, for me right now, for everyone right now, while we are prioritizing the safety, the health, and the security of one another and the people that we love the most to keep ourselves and others safe. So even though we can't get into a whole room on a campus as a crew singing songs right now, this was a pivotal time. Because in that moment, I was asked to step up on the bed, looking over a sea of strangers, people I'd not yet met before. So in this moment, I'm going to climb up here, adjust the camera, go up to the ceiling, because on the first day of first year in university, I was standing on a bed, looking over a sea of total strangers. 35 people who I'd never even met yet, and people who thought I knew what I was doing on the guitar. And what I couldn't believe was that in that moment, one person in that bedroom decided to wave their arms back and forth to the guitar. And while one person raised their arms back and forth to the guitar, then another person raised their arms, and then another person raised their arms. And although it is super weird, my invitation to you right now as you're watching me on screen is the following. I give you a small, subtle double dog dare to put one arm in the air in front of your screen and wave it back and forth, left and right. Just wave one arm back and forth, left and right. And as you do this, you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not going to do that. Or you might have family right beside you and they're looking at you thinking, what are you doing? Or you might be nearby a friend right now where you live and they're thinking, I'm not doing it. Are you doing this? Or maybe you're totally by yourself behind a closed door and you're thinking, I'm so into this because I'm starting Ryerson. I'm in the engineering program and I actually want to put one step forward to step out of my comfort zone, even though I'm not physically on campus with my fellow future grads from the Eng program. But whether or not you are waving your hand back and forth, what I can tell you is that when someone put their arms in the air on my first day of university, everything changed. Let me explain. As I stepped down from this imaginary bed and I dropped the guitar, I want you to understand how the guitar, the bear, and the backpack is relevant to you, is relevant to Eng, and is relevant to the year 2020, when you have chosen to begin this program, begin this chapter of your life as the graduating class of 2024, beginning this chapter in a time that none of us saw coming. Because here's what was supposed to happen. What was supposed to happen is all of us, you and your fellow peers, were supposed to be on campus at the amazing Ryerson University. We were going to all be together in one place, listening to these stories. And every year when I have the honor of kicking off Ryerson Eng, it's a joy because when I'm playing those chords, people just like you actually put their arms up, actually stand from the bleachers, and actually see by looking to your left and to your right who's actually waving their arms. Do I expect everyone to wave their arms when I tell this story? Never. Do I expect someone to wave their arms when I tell this story? Always. And what's amazing is that even some of your leaders right now, who are already students at Ryerson, who are in their second, their third, their fourth year, or beyond if they're sticking around for more school, some of them have seen that story be told in person and see the impact of when people are just waving their arms back and forth. Some do, some don't, and most are somewhere in the middle. Because on the first day of the next chapter of your life, it is okay to be nervous. It is okay to be reluctant. And it is okay to have questions about, how's this whole Ryerson Eng thing going to work? So let me explain. You now know the only 3 things you need to know to succeed at Ryerson, whether it is virtual or not. Let me show you. This right here, the backpack, this is a symbol for your program. Engineering is a big deal. You're going to build a lot of things, personally and professionally, by being a part of this very program. So the backpack is a symbol for the fact that you've got work to do at Ryerson. It is your ticket into Ryerson, and it is your ticket beyond this time of your life. You got to do the program. Second thing, right here, the teddy bear. I'm not just showing you this for sentimentality purposes. I'm showing you this because the bear is a symbol for the people in your life. You have people that helped get you to Ryerson, and there are people in your life that are going to help get you through Ryerson. And engineering is something that requires other people to support you because it is important work and there's a lot to get done. Third and finally, you've already seen it, this right here, the guitar. I'm not saying that you have to cruise around town playing your clarinet until you make friends. Although if you do, let me know. I'm sure that'd be awesome. Rather, this is just a symbol for your passions. The thing that is your hobby, your interest, your talent. And spoiler alert, it may have nothing to do with engineering, and that's okay. This might be you playing music, you playing sports, you being a writer, a poet, obsessed with technology. Maybe you build fundraisers, charities. Maybe you have a business. Maybe you're just so passionate about working with young people. The list is endless, but your passions play a key piece in your experience at Ryerson, whether it be virtual or not. So as I just told you, you now know all the main things you need to know. And I've made a very technical diagram that I'm going to share with you just to tell you more about what I mean. Take a look at this. Here we go. Got a happy face and now the diagram. See that right there? That is my high-tech diagram. It's a picture of me with the only 3 things that you need to succeed in university. First, as I said, your program. The symbol is the backpack. Second, people. The symbol is the bear. Third, your passions. The symbol is the guitar. Take a screenshot of this right now. Take a screenshot or literally take a photo with your phone, just like bam, because as I keep this on the screen, you now have the safe, approved, legit shortcut to achieve all forms of success as a university student in Ryerson Engineering. Now, the good news, you know all three things. And I even gave you some visuals, some symbols in case you're the visual type, so that all you got to do is be like, all right, backpack, bear, guitar. Yeah, got it. Program, people, passions. Yeah, got it. You now know all three things. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. You must balance those three things every single day. Think about it. If all you do is focus on your program, you're going to burn out. And if all you do is focus on meeting a bunch of people online or someday in person, you're going to flunk out. And if you forget to share with the world the thing that you consider your passion, you and other people, I assure you, are going to miss out. Because it is this extra side of yourself that Ryerson wants to experience, especially this year, because while we are connecting to one another more online than we are in person, we want to know more about one another than simply what classes are you taking and what grades are you getting. So again, take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this, because I'm about to get rid of this slide. And if I say anything else to you, the main thing you really need to realize is what I've already said to you. This. The only three things you need to succeed academically, emotionally, socially, and frankly, motivationally as a student. Because I have lived and worked in university campuses for years, more than a decade, all over North America. And these are the only three things that I've seen students need to succeed. Just balance them out. The good news, only three things. The bad news, got to balance them all the time. And now my role, as you're tuned in for the rest of my presentation, is to help you balance those three things, because that is the art and the science of being a student in university. Now, but here's the kicker. You are unlike any other graduating class in human history. And I'm pretty sure you know that, but maybe a reminder is useful. No graduating class has ever begun university. Begun? Gonna have to Google that one later. Started university during a pandemic. You're supposed to be with each other right now physically. You're supposed to not be worried about physical distance. You're supposed to not have to be thinking about so many technological pieces, except this isn't an issue that you're dealing with. This is an issue that the world is dealing with, and you have an opportunity to set the tone, to be the leaders of how university community building will work. So my role is not only to help you succeed through university, like I've told tens of thousands of students over the last decade, but my goal here today is also to remind you of the simple, powerful practices that you can adopt so that you can actually make meaningful relationships, connections, and friendships and partnerships, even if you're not physically crossing paths on campus in the beautiful city of Toronto. So here we go. Let's start first with the topic of this. Academics. This guy, the backpack. I want you to think right now of some of the classes you took in high school, some of the projects you completed, some of the exams that you wrote. And as you're thinking of that right now, watching me on your screen, you're probably thinking to yourself, Blake, don't remind me of it. Like, I've really loved this whole summer vibe. Why are you putting me back into academic mode? Well, it's because that's the time that we're in. Welcome back to school, except you get to approach it in a whole new way. So as you're thinking about those things you used to do in high school academically, I want to tell you a story about the first exam that I ever wrote while I was a student in university and how it applies to you. First day of school for me, university. I walked into a lecture hall and I was totally surprised because in that lecture hall, there were more students in that room than there were in my whole high school. My high school had about 1,000 students. That lecture hall had about 1,500 students. And the course that I took, that I walked into on that day, it was not engineering, it was this one. A general course in psychology. And yep, this is the textbook. So I walk in and I'm overwhelmed because of all the other people that I'm looking at, thinking, oh my gosh, how the heck am I going to succeed in this place when there's this many other people? All right, well, I'll figure it out. And minutes into the first lecture, the professor put one thing up on a slide. Very basic, yet very profound information that I highly recommend you look for in your courses and classes, that you look for from your Frosh leaders, that you look for from your first year ambassadors, that you look for from your advisors. This is what I'm explaining right now. This is what I want you to look for. The professor put their contact information up on the screen. So I decided it was a good idea to write that down. So I wrote down the contact information of the professor. Their name was Dr. Mark. And so on that day, I'm writing down the information, the contact info of Dr. Mark, because Dr. Mark looked up at the screen minutes into university and said the following. Up there, you will see my contact information. I've got my name up there, I've got my email up there, my office phone number, and also the hours each week where I'll be available in my office to answer any and all of your questions. Some of these hours are virtual, some of these hours are in person. Now here's the thing. You can always come to me, but I'm never coming to you. You can always come to me, but I'm never coming to you. So again, I wrote that down. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. And I remembered vividly putting that in my notes because it was the first thing that I learned in a class in university, the contact info of my professor, Dr. Mark. But now let's fast forward a little bit because 6 weeks into the year, this was the middle of October, was the first exam that I wrote. The first exam was on a Saturday morning in October. And there was about 4 chapters that needed to be read in this very textbook right here. And I went to all my classes. So I felt pretty proud. I'm like, hey, I went to all the classes. Some of them in person, some of them online, but I had perfect attendance. But here's the problem. I wrote all my notes by hand. I was not the laptop type. I was not the iPad type. I was not the type. I liked writing my notes on paper, but I wrote my notes so quickly that I actually couldn't read my own writing. And unfortunately, I didn't realize this until days before the midterm because I wasn't really reviewing my notes. And as for the textbook, well, I'm a good reader, but I'm a slow reader. So the 4 chapters that were assigned for the midterm, I only finished 2. Needless to say, I was behind. Plus, look at this. I actually think I even highlighted the specific page. Where is it? Yeah, look at this. Here's an example of how much I would highlight my notes. Basically, that whole page is highlighted. Basically, that means I didn't know what I was doing. Basically, I just thought, I'm going to highlight everything because I was so new to this. I didn't know how to effectively study. I didn't know how to effectively succeed with these intense readings because I hadn't read that much in high school. This was more reading in 6 weeks than I'd done in some whole classes in all of high school. So the midterm rolls around on the Saturday morning, middle of October, and that Friday night, I am in a library on campus, in a hoodie, it's over my head, and I am sweating, not because of the heat, but because of the stress, the worry, the anxiety, and the overwhelm, because I had never felt so behind academically in my life. I was behind on the readings, I couldn't read my notes, this was my first grade I was going to get in university, and it was not going to go well. I go to bed at 2 a.m. The exam was at 9 a.m. Yeah, I was cramming. Yeah, I wasn't being as organized as I could have been by any means. But I set my alarm for 8 a.m. And that morning, for the exam, I hear the groggy voice of my roommate from across the residence room say the following to me first thing in the morning. Dude, what time's your exam? 9? It's 9:35. Go! And then I give him this bright response. Doesn't matter. I was gonna fail anyway. And I went back to bed. Yeah, Now, this is the moment where you at home tune in, watching me on your screen, 2020 style, are thinking to yourself, why is this guy talking to me? Why is this guy like giving us tips on how to succeed in Ryerson engineering? Let me explain. Fortunately, my roommate Anthony was one of my people in university. And Anthony dragged me out of bed, threw me out the door, and insisted that I go write the thing, even if I was going to do poorly. Minutes later, I'm in the exam center on campus. I get there, and I find the teaching assistant at the front door, the person who greeted all the students writing the exam, the person who had the clipboard with all the names on the clipboard. I say, hi, my name's Blake. I know I'm here like 45 minutes late. I'm just going to write that multiple choice exam super fast, so just let me in. I got this. Let's go. The teaching assistant says to me, we cannot accept students after 30 minutes. So now that we've been writing the exam for 45, you can't come in. It's just the policy. So wherever you came from, you're going to have to go back there. Sorry about that. Now, as you're listening to me tuned in on screen, I understand some of you might be getting the sweats because I officially got a 0 first grade in university. Some of you might be laughing. Some of you might be just entertained. And some of you might be scrolling on your phone or doing online dating or playing video games because, hey, multitasking, sometimes it happens. My invitation to you is to come back from the multitasking because here is the only thing I realized I needed to know to succeed in my program academically. Here it comes. I went back to my residence room and I sat at my computer and I started to write the only thing I could read in my notes, the contact information for my professor, Dr. Mark. So I began an email to Dr. Mark. Dear Dr. Mark, my name is Blake. I'm in your psychology class, which I love very much. I'm just going to put it out there and see what you say. I got nothing to lose. I slept through the midterm. I'm wondering if there's a makeup exam. I would really like to write that makeup exam. Let me know what you think. My name is Blake. I really like your class. Sincerely, Blake. P.S. I'm a really nice guy. Send. I sent this email just within the time frame of the midterm exam. People were still writing the midterm while I was sending this email asking if I could rewrite the exam in the midterm makeup exam coming up. I thought, this guy's not going to reply to me. This guy's not going to check my email. This guy has over 1,500 students in one of his 3 classes, like he's even going to read the thing. Except, a few hours later, I get a reply from Dr. Mark, and it read something like this. Blake, Dr. Mark here. I got your email. Not a lot of students ask for help. You are new here. These things happen. Here's the information for the makeup exam. It's next week. Don't sleep in. Study. See you there. Good luck. Sincerely, Dr. Mark. P.S. I'm also a really nice guy. Now here's the thing. I'm not suggesting that you sleep through all your live exams, that you make everything late, and that you just send persuasive emails asking for help. No. For all I know, maybe the professor was just in some good mood. Maybe I won some random contest. Maybe it was a glitch. I'm not sure. But I fortunately wrote the midterm makeup exam. And my grades were still not that great, but I passed. And my message to you is the one that I found inside the email to me. Most students don't get this lesson in the first 6 weeks. Most students don't get this lesson in the first 6 months. Most students don't ever get this lesson. I'm now going to give it to you while you are watching me. So my invitation is to just bring it fully in right now. Nod at me, even though you're probably on your own thinking, why am I nodding at this random ginger guy on my screen, on YouTube, on Zoom, on whatever? Listen. The message to me is the one I want to give to you to save you months, if not years, of academic stress, worry, anxiety, fear, and low grades. Here we go. Not a lot of students ask for help. That's it. Not a lot of students ask for help. I saw that in the email from Dr. Mark. Now, this was interesting and this was shocking to me. How is it that not a lot of students ask for help? How is it that you don't ask for help when you've paid tuition to get all these resources? How is it that you don't ask for help when there's all these people whose full-time job it is at Ryerson Eng to make sure you succeed? And how is it that you don't ask for help when there's all these things that will motivate and incentivize you to utilize these resources available to you virtually and eventually in person on campus at Ryerson? Well, the reason why you might not ask for help is because we as human beings, sometimes we shy away from it. Because if we ask for help, it makes us think we're weak. It makes us think we're vulnerable. Except if you ask for help, you are giving permission to everyone else to do the same. And you're getting the resources that you need to succeed. Now, here's the thing. If you don't like asking for help, it's fine. It's kind of a normal thing, especially as you grow up. But right now, I want you to look into my eyes. Yep, it's kind of creepy, but do it. Do you like free stuff? Some of you grinned. I can't actually see you, but I can just sense that some of you grinned. You're like, I love free stuff. So there's a lot of free stuff, whether it be prizes, opportunities, free food. There's a lot of free stuff that is linked to you asking for help. If you log into something at the virtual advisor room, maybe there's some free stuff to say, hey, good job, we appreciate you asking for help. If when you go to campus at some point in the future, maybe you can get like t-shirts or lanyards or Frisbee or something because you went to some support session on how to prepare for exams or how to manage your mental health or how to be more physically energized so that you are prepared for the stressful times of the year. I don't know what it is, but I know for me, I got a lot of free stuff every time that I went to academic sessions on campus. And what does that mean? It means going to things like how to prepare for exams. It means how to manage stress. It means how to maximize your reading time. It means how to better write essays. It means how to work collaboratively on a team project. It means how to level up your mathematics. The list goes on. And right now for you, that will predominantly be virtual support. There is a virtual advisor room available to you in engineering at Ryerson. You'll learn about this today, but make the most of it. Utilize it. It's one click away, and it actually can save you so much time, worry, stress, anxiety, all in the realm of academics. So I'm now going to say something to you 6 times in hopes that you memorize it, in hopes that it becomes annoying, and in hopes that it becomes memorable. Because it's the only thing you need to succeed in the department of this, the academic side of Ryerson Eng. You getting grades to someday graduate. Here it is, 6 times. Ask for help. 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 This time, because Ryerson is based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where it is a bilingual place, speaking both English and French in the country of Canada. Number 6, this time in French. Bonjour. Ask for help. There we have it. Now, to summarize that whole thing, I even made a very high-tech visual, so you can take a screenshot right now. It's right here. High-tech visual coming up. To succeed in your program, ask for help. Take a screenshot, take a picture, and that way in a few months when you're like, who's the random ginger speaker guy online who's holding up that sign? It's me, Blake, reminding you that to succeed in your program, all you need to do is ask for help. Except it's one of the most courageous things you can do. That's why not a lot of people do it. There you go. Next up, folks, let's talk about people. Let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about the fact that now more than ever, you are going to have to be hyper innovative, hyper thoughtful, and hyper mindful of how to form connections, friendships, and relationships. Because if we all just sit at home, not physically on campus, thinking, well, now I can't make friends. Well, now I can't get involved. Well, now I can't actually make connections. Wrong, wrong, so wrong. In fact, you actually have a head start on most people because you are in the comfort of your home or in the comfort of the place that you now live in the world as you come to Ryerson to study engineering. And you have people at your fingertips who will be your classmates, your peers, your future colleagues, your advisors, your mentors, your ambassadors, your Frosh leaders. These are people who you can simply send a message to and you are connected to. I'm just going to give you a few ideas as to how to do that most effectively because honestly, what they don't tell you too much about in the brochures when you join places like a university is that the most valuable thing is the relationships that you form while you are here. And making friends is not just a thing that you do when you're 4 or 5 years old as a little kid. Making friends is a life skill that will serve you at every single new stage of life. And now, the way we make friends is a whole different ballgame than it was 6 months ago. So I'm going to tell you a few stories about the world we know, where you can connect with people in person all you want, and the world that we are currently in, where we got to do that being mindful of distance and leveraging life online. So I'm going to share my screen and tell you a quick few stories about how to make friends on campus. Here we go. You should see a happy face there, hanging out. And now we begin. This right here is a simple little greeting card, and it was written by myself and someone I met in university. This person is one of my best friends in the world. His name is Elan. Elan and I, we decided to, years after university, move into an apartment together in the city of Toronto, not far from Ryerson. It's in a place called North York, which is about 15-20 minutes north of Ryerson, right up Yonge Street. And if all these streets are just making no sense to you because you're not physically on campus, don't worry about it. But to those of you local in Toronto who are just minutes away from Ryerson because that's where you grew up, this will make even more sense to you. So Elan and I wrote these greeting cards on the first day when we moved into our new apartment a few years after university. Why did we do this? Well, because we were living on a floor with other people and we wanted to get to know them. We wanted to say hi. We wanted to do something proactive so that we would have a community around us in our new home, not just us living by ourselves and having no one to talk to except each other. So inside each card, we drew a diagram. There it is, very technical diagram. I had a different haircut back then. So I was on the left, he was on the right, and that way if people saw us in the hallway, they'd be like, I recognize you guys. You're Blake, you're Elan. And this is what we wrote in each note. This was years ago, back in 2013, a few years after university. To our new neighbors in 2008, we're the new guys who recently moved into Unit 2003, and we're still getting settled. In case we don't cross paths soon, we just wanted to drop off a card to say hello. We are Blake and Elan, see above, and we have been friends since university. Feel free to drop by 2003, that was the number of our apartment, if you ever need anything, cooking supplies, DVDs, etc., or just to say hello. Thanks for being one of our new neighbors, Blake and Elan. So we gave each of those people a card. We gave each of those people a note. And why did we do this? We did this because we wanted to be the first people to say hello. We wanted to be the first people to set the tone for how we would have a community experience in our new home. So for you right now, I understand that if you were to go around giving handwritten cards to people on campus, there's just a whole lot of reasons that just won't be easy. Plus, some of you aren't even near campus. Some of you are in different parts of the world right now, but you're still connected to the Ryerson engineering community virtually as students. So instead of a greeting card, here's the opportunity that you have. You will be in breakout rooms in things like Zoom. You will be in different comment threads in virtual experiences. You will be in groups on social media. You will be in forums. You are going to be connecting with so many people virtually. The opportunity you have is whether or not you go above and beyond to create connections and conversations. Most people will just be passively online, thinking that life in Ryerson as an engineering student in 2020 is just a bunch of webinars, virtual classes, and online forums. Wrong. Everybody you connect with, you have the opportunity to then reconnect with them afterwards, because we can find each other, we can connect with each other, we can locate one another in so many different ways online, through social media, through different forums, etc. So when you meet someone that you connect with, when you get support from someone that you connect with, when you click with someone, maybe you be in a conversation, a breakout room, a forum, who knows, actually follow up with them and acknowledge them for the fact that they had an impact on you, or that you learned something from them, or that you have something in common with them. And if you want to go up a few notches and go above and beyond 2020 style, you can even send people a voice note. You can even send people a personal video. This is not about online dating. This is about online friendship creation during a pandemic when we need to be physically apart. And if you send people a voice note or even a one-to-one video on a phone, you actually are creating such a meaningful interaction, a meaningful connection with people who you might physically not interact with, but virtually you can be interacting with every single day. So it doesn't have to be a paper greeting card, but what are some ways you can make connections and start conversations that are above and beyond the simple virtual classroom experience? Now let's move on right here. This is a real significant story in reference to the city of Toronto, right? Where Ryerson is based. Check this one out. It was another way for Elan and I to create some friendships in our community. This time, it involves the following. That is the subway car in Toronto. You see, Elan and I, we like to play music together. We met in university through playing guitar, by me walking through the halls trying to find a friend. And after university, we missed the fact that there were no people around anymore. There were no people around because on campus there's people everywhere, but when we moved back home after the campus years were done, we were just both living at home with our parents again. So when we would play music, nobody would listen. And we missed that. So we thought, let's go onto the subway in Toronto and we'll play music there. So we did it. But here's the problem. I don't know the last time you went on a subway in Toronto. Maybe you never even have. But it is filled with people, not in a pandemic. And most of those people don't look very happy. A lot of faces on the subway, people frowning, people seemingly in a bad mood, people not wanting to be annoyed, people looking at their phones, people with headphones in. They just don't really want to be dealt with. So we had the idea that, well, if we play music, maybe they'll like it. Wrong. People were giving us daggers with their eyes. They were giving us that look of like, who do you think you are? Do you not realize how bad of a day I just had at work? Do you not realize I'm trying to be in a bad mood right now? Do you not realize you're messing up my I hate my life brand while I'm here on the subway? So it was tough. It was a tough crowd. But we decided to just forge ahead and keep playing in hopes of making people's day. And when we got on the subway, we actually had a little explanation. And this applies to you because you too will benefit from having some context, some explanation when you're reaching out to people online as to why you want to connect or how they've impacted you or the impact you want to make on that. So when we get on the subway, we would walk in and we would have our instruments. And we would get onto the subway car and the doors would close behind us. And as we were starting to play, we said the following. You are now part of a train reaction. We do not play for money. We're just playing to make people smile. And as soon as we said those two things, that we don't play for money and that we just play to make people smile, people started to love it because they weren't thinking, oh, great, these guys are here for money. And they weren't thinking, oh my gosh, what do they want from me? They knew that we were there just to make people smile. And as soon as we said that, a few more people would start smiling and then we would point them out. It's like, oh, I see your smile. I see your smile, and the more people whose smiles we pointed out, the more other people began smiling. So in like less than 10 seconds, we had this train of people that were looking kind of angry, upset, and annoyed shift into a train of people that were looking open, willing, and excited to experience the music and maybe even sing along. Then at the end, when we were done playing, we'd see people with their phones taking pictures or video, and we would say to them, for those of you who are filming this right now or taking pictures, that's totally cool. All we ask is that you use the hashtag train reaction, because then we can show these pictures to our moms. And as soon as we said that, everybody on the train was like, oh, these guys have moms. It's so sweet. So it was harmless. It was simply just to make people's day. But then we weren't expecting it to actually end up online. Take a look at this. Twitter was pretty popular when we were doing train reaction. So Twitter was where these people would put the hashtag. Someone wrote, the TTC, which is the name of the subway in Toronto, needs to hire these guys. Thanks for the great ride tonight on the Young Line. And then they tagged CP24, which is a news channel in Toronto. And that's not good, because technically we're not supposed to be playing music on subways because there's like rules about being loud. And then someone else put up something online. Train reaction, the TTC needs to get these guys on the payroll for musicians. Check out why. Then someone made a YouTube video and tagged us, and then we were shown playing music on the subway. Again, not ideal because technically you're not supposed to make a lot of noise on the subway. And this is my personal favorite post. Best wrong train I ever got on. Train reaction, thanks for letting me jam with you guys. So all this came from Elan and I and our other friend Amir, the drummer, just getting on the subway car in the city of Toronto and trying to make people's day. Now I understand that you're not going to go in a subway car and play music. I mean, maybe at some point that'll work. I understand that maybe that's not even something you'd be excited to do. But what I'm suggesting for you is, how can you be innovative? How can you be unique? How can you go out of your way to make someone's day virtually? Whether it be with a written message, a voice note, a video. There are so many people who are about to become your future best friend. But you need to do something to virtually make the first move. And I realize that all this sounds like online dating weirdness, but if you think about it, that's how we make friends, is someone has to go first. Someone has to introduce themselves. Someone has to say hello. Someone has to put themselves out there. And there's no reason to think that you can't make connections, relationships, friendships in a deep manner just because it's a virtual experience. You, more than most generations ever, are masters at creating relationships, first online and second in person. So it's your time to thrive making all these connections. Here's another example. Now I understand that this fully does not apply when we're trying to stay physically distant, but the concept is oh so relevant to so many ways you can engage people virtually. Here is the next little friendship creating stunt Elan and I did. It's right here. We wore these t-shirts. We bought them at Walmart for $5, and we wrote free high fives across the chest. Why'd we do this? Because we didn't like running. But we thought maybe we should go running because I hear it's good for health. So how can we take this thing that we suck at and don't enjoy, running, but make it something that we do enjoy and maybe we'll actually someday rock at it? So we got creative and we made the shirts. And we ran all the way down Yonge Street to the CN Tower, right past Ryerson. And we would high five everybody that we'd see. Now, a lot of people, they rejected us. They thought we were stupid. They thought we were weird. They thought we were kind of out to lunch. But then some people, most people, gave us a high five. And it made their day. They basically couldn't high five us without smiling. So we decided after the first high five run, hey, this is good times. We should do this more. We should put it online. We decided to make it into an event. We put it on Facebook. We promoted it. We made these events. We made tickets. We made all this stuff to really hype it up. And then the next time we went, we basically almost doubled the size. One extra person joined us. So we went from 2 to 3. Not too impressive. But then we kept promoting it. And then we had another group of people start to grow, and they even like put these little pieces of paper on their chest that we gave them. They had an orange piece of paper and they wrote a number on it, so they felt like they were part of a team. They felt like they had numbers on them. So it's like a legit race where you have the bib on your shirt. But all it was an orange piece of paper with Sharpie marker, like this one, where we just wrote high five run, gave you a number, and duct taped it to your t-shirt. And then it kept growing. This one right here has over 100 people. And actually, this was all a group of 100 professional athletes. We were actually sponsored and hired by a company called Lululemon and a fundraising initiative called Movember for Men's Health. They hired Elan and I to lead a high five run all through the city of Toronto. And that was a little bit overwhelming because these are professional athletes and Elan and I suck at running. So it was kind of funny to us that we were the chosen leaders to lead all these pro athletes through the city of Toronto on a high five run. And they loved it. We ran through the city at night. We had these like cool high five run flags in the air. People were all cheering. It was amazing. And then over time, we kept doing the runs. So this is a picture of us not far from Ryerson, just a few yards away, and it's at City Hall in Toronto. And that was a team of high five runners one day. And then on that day, there was actually an engineer. Funny story. This was an engineer from Ryerson, someone who learned about our high five run. And they decided to engineer this. What is it? It's a counter. So that right there on the palm is a spring-loaded target, and then on the top of the hand is a digital reader to count the high fives. So this engineer from Ryerson years ago created a counter, and then we had the opportunity to do the math at the end on how many high fives he delivered. So here we go. We had 580 as the number on the back of his glove. So he gave out 580 high fives. We had 42 runners that day. And so then on that day, the math turned out that we had almost 25,000 high fives being distributed. So that's pretty darn awesome to know how many high fives were being dished out. Now, that's not a perfect science, but it's an approximation because everybody who gave out a high five on the run, basically everybody running behind them got the high five as well. So this group of people in Toronto single-handedly, actually I guess it's 42 hands, created a quarter of 100,000 physical impressions on people. Now is not the time to be doing high five runs at all. That goes against so many things given the current situation we're living in. But how could you replicate that same idea virtually? How could you make someone's day 5 days a week? Maybe it's commenting on their posts. Maybe it's encouraging them when they ask a really cool question in class. Maybe it's just acknowledging that you have something in common and you want to connect with them on Zoom afterwards, or make some like virtual study group. Or maybe you meet up every single day at 7 a.m. virtually just to have academic accountability and study support. I do this 5 days a week with a group of entrepreneurs who have their own businesses. I'm not an engineer, but I've always been engineering how to grow my business because I work for myself. I travel the world giving speeches and doing online programs. And every morning, a group of entrepreneurs get together for 2 hours just to be accountable to each other. How could you replicate something just like that as a student in Eng at Ryerson? There's so many ways you can make people's days. And don't be someone who uses the excuse of, I couldn't connect to many people because I started university in that year with the pandemic. Wrong. You could connect to equal, if not more people than any group of students who started in Ryerson Eng than you. So that's my challenge to you. How can you create these connections every single day? Oh, and here's the other thing. If you're thinking right now, but Blake, I'm not social, but Blake, I'm not extroverted, but Blake, I'm not creative, but Blake, like I'm not innovative. It's okay. The basics are the things that are most brilliant when it comes to creating connections, because these are the people who will help you on your projects. These are the people who will help you someday get future career opportunities. These are the people that will make your time at Ryerson more meaningful, more magical, more memorable, so you will benefit from going through this experience, not on your own, but with others. But you got to make the first move so that you create these relationships, these friendships, these conversations. So as one more example, I want you to see someone who is way down the road at a different stage in life, but someone who was basically quarantined. Someone who basically was limited to the four walls of their room. Someone who basically just stayed in their room for months, but we're still trying to figure out how they could create a community experience with others in their building, and how they could create something meaningful and memorable for themselves so that they weren't just like stuck at home alone all the time. So check this out, because this person is in a different stage of life altogether. There he is. That's someone who goes by the name of Papa. He is my grandfather, and he's 93. Oh, and he's a pool shark. I still cannot beat him at the game of pool because he's amazing. Papa saw an opportunity in his nursing home where he lives, and he kind of just like stays in his room all the time, almost like quarantine. So check this out. Out his window, he saw a goose. Very basic. This is not exciting. But he saw this goose out his window. And the reason why it was a big deal to him is because that goose was laying eggs. That goose was someday going to hatch baby goslings, little birdies. So my grandfather, Papa, he made a short video on his old school digital camera every day to document the process of Mother Goose, someday soon to be hatching her eggs. So he kept documenting this daily. And then I had the honor of editing all the footage. He invited me over so I could edit it and make a short movie because he wanted to show all of the people in the building, in the nursing home, the movie. Now, he had 4 hours of footage of this, and it basically all looked identical. So I had to go through 4 hours of goose footage and make it into an 18-minute video experience, which basically looked kind of like what you're looking at right now. And then Papa promoted the event. He phoned people around the building and invited them to the event. He also put posters up around the building in ways that were safe to invite people to the event, to watch the movie. And there you have it. A group of about 10 or 12 elderly folks, super sweet individuals, all watching the feature presentation of Mother Goose. And Papa, being awesome, he even gave out prizes. Look at this. 2 8x10 color photos of Mother Goose and her baby geese awarded to the raffle winners. There you have it. All from a basic out the window viewing of a goose. And then at the end, a team photo. Obviously, you need the team photo. So I share this with you because some of the most basic, seemingly boring things can actually be glue for building virtual communities, for building genuine friendships, for building sincere connections and starting epic conversations. You don't have to create something revolutionary. You get to engineer basic things that form brilliant friendships. So take leadership from someone who's years down the road from us and be reminded that the basics are what we need to connect to one another. And we actually don't need to physically be in person all the time to do it. We might even have an advantage when it starts virtually. So on the topic of people, here are the basics, the rules, the codes. I made it super simple on a piece of paper. Here's all you gotta know to connect with people, both virtually and in person. Be the first to say hello so that you can start these connections and friendships. And don't forget to say thanks, to let people know the impact they've had on you. Thank your friends, thank your family, thank your advisors, your mentors, your leaders, your professors. And not so that you can like be a goody-goody or suck up to them or try and get more grades. No, saying thank you is to let people know the role that they play in your life. Because even though it's a little thing as basic as a thank you text, that stuff ripples out around the world and people remember it for years to come, if not for the rest of their life. Now as we come in for a landing, this last piece of the 3-piece puzzle is, as I said at the start, your passions. How can you actually put yourself out there to share your hobbies, your interests, your talents, and passions with the Ryerson engineering community, especially when it's virtual? Well, good news. In all my travels over the last decade, some of the most creative, innovative, outside the box thinking people I've ever met are engineering students at universities. You know how to build things. That's why you've been put on the planet. And now your opportunity is to build something that doesn't exist yet. That's kind of the whole point of engineering. Except you get to build something that doesn't exist yet because no one has ever gone through first year university in a time like this. So my invitation to you is to build something that you'll be proud of, to build something that impacts you academically for the better, that impacts you socially for the better, and might I advise to consider your passions as the way to put yourself out there, get involved, and create some really meaningful connections, conversations, and key people in your life. So as we end this, I want to go back to where we started, when someone simply invited me to step up onto a bed moments into university and invite me to play the only 4 chords I knew how to play while looking at a group of total strangers. And even though right now we cannot directly see each other, we know what each other is going through. Because never in human history has there been a time where we all have something in common. It's weird, it's different, it can be scary, but there's so much common ground that you are starting university on. And even though you're not going to be standing up on a bed playing a guitar, you actually don't need to be. What you need to be doing is reminding yourself that there's only 3 things that you need to know to succeed at Ryerson in engineering. It's your program, it's your people, and it's your passions. The good news is that you only need those 3 things to succeed. The bad news is that you have to balance them every single moment. So ask for help. That is how you can succeed in your program. And by being the first person to ask for help, you're giving permission to others to do the same. Even if you don't need it, ask for it anyway, because then you learn faster and you go further. On the topic of people, don't use the excuse like most of the planet and say, well, I can't meet people, I'm doing like the virtual university thing because of this pandemic. Wrong. You were the masters of creating friendships first online. So now it's the time for you to shine. Show up and make these connections. Be the first to say hello, whether it be a written message, a voice note, or a video. And be the first to say thank you, to let people know the impact that they're having on your life and your experience as a student. And lastly, do not be afraid to share what you are passionate about, because it adds to the things on campus that make it memorable, meaningful, and downright magical. And I know you're not physically near one another, but that's okay, because the world is looking at you thinking, how are you going to do this year? And you get to prove to them that you will do not only fine, but you will do phenomenally well, because the virtual world is where you thrive, and this is now where everything begins. So ask for help, say hello, say thank you, and do not forget to put yourself out there. Welcome to Ryerson Engineering. You're beginning your experience in a time the world has never seen, and I think that's not all that bad, because that means that you will create a time that is entirely new to the entire world. Welcome to Ryerson Engineering. Thank you very much. This is where I do the virtual bow. Thank you very much. Virtual bow. Handing it back to the awesome team at Ryerson.
Thank you, Blake. That was fantastic. And
Thank you.
I give you a high five, a virtual high five.
Let's go.
So
Virtual high five. Great to see you again. We see each other every year for 5 minutes. It's so great.
yes, thank you so much for your beautiful presentation. That was an exciting one. And I will assure you that we do have the best students in the world. And I am convinced of that. So I'm sure they are listening and they are eager to take your advice in being polite and saying hello and giving high five, a virtual high five. Yes. Thank you.
Have a great year. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our Dean, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science, to give some welcome messages. Tom?
Thank you very much, Lamia. So, to all of you, welcome. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for choosing Ryerson University. You had a lot of choices, a lot of possibilities, a lot of places you could have gone, but you chose to come here. And we're thrilled that you did, and we're very grateful for that. This is a new and exciting chapter in your life, and we are here to support you and enable you to make the most of it. You have joined a vibrant faculty and university with endless possibilities. I can assure you of that. We are committed to offering you the best possible experience despite the situation that we find ourselves in with the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, we're disappointed that we can't greet you in person and welcome you to our campus. But I can assure you that your professors have been working very hard over the summer to ensure that the courses that you're going to be taking are the best possible ones and that you're going to meet your learning outcomes for the semester. You know, our first priority in these days is the health and safety of our students, professors, and staff. And as such, we take directives from public health and so on. But I can tell you that we cannot wait to see you and greet you and work with you on our campus in downtown Toronto. And I hope that's going to happen in the very near future. You know, I know that the programs you're entering are very, very challenging. I was there myself many years ago. But I really encourage you to look outside of your programs as well, to look at the co-curricular and extracurricular activities that are being offered in areas such as leadership, career readiness, entrepreneurship, and design through our student teams. There's a lot of things that you can learn and experience through those initiatives, and you get to meet a lot of interesting people. I also encourage you to look outside of the faculty and look at what's going on in other areas of the university. As engineers, we play an incredibly important role in dealing with the most pressing problems that the world faces, like the one that we're in right now. Last year, the deans of all the engineering schools in Canada got together, and we defined what we call the Canadian Engineering Grand Challenges. These are the really wicked problems, the really difficult problems that we think are very, very important for us to solve. And they deal with things related to health, transportation, sustainable cities, energy, clean water, and other topics that are very, very important to our society, to our country, and indeed to the world. And to solve them requires ingenuity, hard work, and the collaboration of many people in many different areas. You know, we've talked to a lot of people and asked them, what kind of people, what kind of engineers does the world really need today? And the answer is really loud and clear. The world does not just need engineers. It needs engineers who think, who lead, who work with others, and invent creative solutions for all these complex problems. And so the central focus of my role of my work as dean is instilling a culture of excellence when it comes to research and education in the faculty, with a clear understanding, though, that inclusivity is inherent in excellence. Only by integrating diverse perspectives and opinions can we really achieve the kind of insight and innovation that will enable us to solve the problems that I'm talking about. Equity, diversity, and inclusivity are really at the core of what we do at Ryerson. And so my hope for every Ryerson engineering student as they head out into their profession after studying with us is that they have a level of civic mindedness and cultural competency. In other words, an understanding of the world around them. So it's not just important that you study the technical aspects of your programs, but it's also important for you to understand the context. Where does engineering fit in? Where do we fit in as members of society? You are the future for the engineering profession, and I know that you're going to succeed and do wonderful things. So with that, I'd like to thank you one more time, and I wish you a successful term, and I really look forward to seeing you in the very near future on our campus in downtown Toronto. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we have to get something like, your mic is on mute. Thank you so much, Tom, for your intriguing remarks. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure that the students are very motivated right now to do and to go into multiple of interdisciplinary work and actions. And now it's time for us to give them our stretch break. And we have here from the RAC, we have Avery and Sharon. So Avery and Sharon, could you please take the floor?
Okay, hello. So my name's Avery. I'm not sure when Sharon will be joining, but for now I can just quickly talk about Ryerson Athletics and Recreation to you guys. Am I being heard okay? Everything's good? My audio's good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, so I've already said my name's Avery, but I am currently working in the customer service and outreach unit at Ryerson Athletics and Recreation. So I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it. At Ryerson Athletics and Recreation, we strive to provide safe and inclusive spaces and programs for you to move your way to wellness and incorporate movement into your regular routine. So regular physical activity benefits your academic and work performance, your individual well-being, and it helps you make connections in your community. It might feel a little bit difficult at first, but finding ways to dedicate time to fitness and health helps you be more creative, think more clearly, reduce stress, study better, and maintain positive relationships. Also, with your membership included in your tuition, students have access to our two facilities, the RAC and the MAC. And the RAC is the Recreation and Athletics Center, and the MAC is the Mattamy Athletic Center. So at the RAC, you can find two gyms, a fitness center, a cardio gallery, an indoor track, two dance studios, squash courts, and a pool. And then at the MAC, we have a 2-court gym, a fitness center, a studio, and an arena. And the MAC is also the hub for all of our varsity games. So you can attend those free with your one card. Also, things are going to look a little bit different this year just because COVID. So Toronto is now in stage 3 of the reopening plan. So Recreation is beginning to safely reopen our facilities. And we started with opening the MAC on August 10th. So that fitness center is now open. The safety of our students, members, and staff is always our first priority, and we have undertaken a very extensive review and redesign of our spaces to meet public health guidelines and emergency industry practices in response to COVID-19. So some of the highlights of this reopening plan is that in the first couple phases, Ryerson students will be given priority access to our facilities. And also we will be reopening for individual pre-reserved workouts using our MAC Fitness Center. So we are working to bring other facilities, group activities, drop-in sports, gyms back in due course, but we're just waiting to hear when it is safe to do that. And then also there's been a lot of safety measures implemented, including limiting our capacity. I believe it's 25 guests per time slot. There's more equipment spacing to ensure that everyone is 6 feet apart. Health screenings and mask requirements are also included in that. So if you're a Ryerson student living far away from campus, obviously it's going to be a lot harder for us to meet you in person at the MAC facility, but there's many ways for you guys to stay connected through our online and remote active well-being opportunities. So we have live and on-demand group fitness classes, and those are going to continue for the foreseeable future, which is awesome. And then we also have a complete list of our active well-being during COVID-19 resources that can be found at our website at ryerson.ca/recreation. So heading into O Week and the fall 2020 term, we're hard at work to bring you guys even more online, remote, and in-person opportunities to ensure that the Ryerson community continues to move together. And we're dreaming of connecting you guys in person eventually. We also have 7 Daily Habits of Student Wellbeing event going on for all first years throughout a week. So you can look for updates regarding those events on our social channels at RU Recreation, or like I mentioned before, the website, ryerson.ca/recreation. Finally, I want to talk about employment really quickly. We're currently one of the largest student employers on campus, and trust me, I know how hard it is to be a student, especially in these times. So it's definitely nice to have a little bit of financial security, and then also to work in such a great community, such as Recreation. So I've been a member for not very long, but it's been a great experience for me. I got employed in first year and it really helped me come out of my shell. So I definitely encourage you guys to try applying to Recreation as well. We have a lot of different units with employment opportunities, and all of these positions will be posted through the Ryerson Career Boost website, where you can learn more and you can apply there as well. You have to apply for Career Boost before you get employed with Ryerson. So make sure you check that out. And then my last little tidbit is be sure to stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Once again, that's at RU Recreation. And then you can find all of our information online at our website, ryerson.ca/recreation. And I'll be staying on for the next 5-10 minutes while Sharon does her thing to answer any questions that you guys have. And thank you for listening. I'll hand it over to Sharon now.
Hello, how are you? My name is Sharon. Let me just change my screen here. There we go. Hi, my name is Sharon. Thanks so much for having me. And as was mentioned before, you can take the online classes right now on Instagram Live, which is awesome. So you can look it up. Even tonight, I'll be teaching a 5 p.m. Pilates class if you want to join that. It's free. And you can also see the classes that we've been doing over the last few months. They're on Instagram TV, so you can give those a try as well. Yoga and stretching and all different kinds of things. But today I'm here for 5-10 minutes or so just to give you some stretches that you can do on your own time when you're busy working away. I know you can get in the zone and forget that you've been sat in this position for hours upon end. So I do suggest that once an hour you get up and move a little bit. Even if that means setting an alarm on your phone or something like that, just as a reminder, oh yeah, I've been sitting here for hours, I should stand up. So a few things that you can do just to get the blood flowing is simply to stand up and down in your chair about 10 times. Okay, so that'll just sort of get your blood moving, your legs and everything. Another thing you can do is just even standing by your chair or your desk is You could do some squats. So just sitting back into your heels and hinging forward, trying to engage your core so you're protecting your back. You can do 10 or 12 of these, just again, to get the blood flowing. You can hold on to your chair and do some high steps, 10 sets of those, let's say. Again, just getting the blood flowing. Holding on to your chair with your legs straight, you can just rise up and down. Did you hear my ankle crack there? You can rise up and down, up onto your toes, just to get the ankles and the feet moving. Another standing up one you can do is to stretch out the front of your hip flexors, because if you're sitting and your legs are like this, you're crunching your hip flexors, right? So you can always take a hold of your foot. If you can't reach your foot, if you grab a strap or like a belt or something like that, you can hook it around your foot if you can't reach. Is that you're standing up nice and straight and you're just gently pulling the foot back and the leg back to get a stretch in the front of that hip flexor that's been crunched for sitting so long. Last thing you could do here is a little stretch in the back of your calves, right? So you can lean against a wall or your chair or whatnot and just gently press back with one heel, so you're stretching out the back of the calf. I can show you some when you're sitting down as well, if you don't have time to get up and move around, is our head and neck and shoulders take a lot of strain, right? So we're all, tensed up here on our computers and phones and everything. So we need to release the tension in the neck and the shoulders. Simply, I'll show you from the side. You can do this standing or sitting, and it is just bringing the chin forward towards the chest and then bringing the chin up towards the ceiling. So you're stretching the neck back and forth, just making sure when you bring your head to the back that you keep the neck nice and long so you're not crunching the back of the neck, but lengthening as you bring the head back. Another good one, I'll show you standing. So these you can do sitting or standing, is just bring one arm behind your back like this. Take your other arm and gently tilt your head towards the opposite shoulder from the arm that's behind your back. Get a really good stretch into the opposite side of the neck here, making sure that shoulder is down. And then you can even turn a little bit to face towards that shoulder. Get even more of a stretch. And then of course you're going to repeat on the other side. Okay. Getting back to the shoulders. This you can do sitting or standing. Big, big, big shoulder rolls. Okay. So lifting them up, pulling them back and pulling them down. So you're opening up the shoulders and the chest, and then a few in reverse. Another one that I really love, and I always do it in my stretch class, is if you squeeze up your shoulders and squeeze your fists really tight and then let them drop. Okay, so you're squeezing, that's going to be on the inhale, and then exhale to release. So you'll do that, let's say about 5 or 6 times, okay? Might as well show you this one while I'm standing, is you can lift, legs can just be open hip width apart, lift up nice and tall with your arms and your spine, and then twist to one side. So it's a spine twist. Inhale, lift up, big, big, big stretch, nice and tall, and then exhale to twist. So let's say about 5 sets. So you're doing 5 times on each side. Another one, again, if you don't have time to get up and stretch, you can do a little spine twist at your chair. Okay, so trying to keep your shoulders down, take the back of your chair. My chair doesn't have arms, but you could take the arm of your chair and just a little twist. You always want to bring your head and your neck and your eyes following with your spine. So if my spine is twisting to the left, my head and my eyes twist to the left as well. So that's a good one. Getting back to the wrists and forearms, we didn't do these. So again, if you're on your computer and phone, we get really tense all up in our shoulders, necks, and wrists and forearms, is to take one hand, arm forward. I'll show you from the side. Palm is down, take your other hand, and just gently pull the hand in towards you. Okay, so if you're doing it now with me, you can feel that there's a nice stretch in the top of your wrist and your forearm. Just make sure that that shoulder stays down so you're not hiking the shoulder up. Repeat on the same on the other side, and then the reverse, this one for me is even tighter, the underneath of your wrist and forearm. So same thing, but palm is facing upwards. Take your hand and gently pull the palm back. Okay, so you get a nice stretch in the underneath of your wrists and forearms. So do that on both sides, 20 or 30 seconds, whatever you need. But stretches, I usually say 20 or 30 seconds in each one. What else? Let me just see. I have them written down. Did I miss anything? Shoulders, got it. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's it. Side stretches. We didn't do side stretches. So this one you can do seated. If you have a armrest on your chair, that's going to help as well. I do them standing. So if you're up standing anyways to get your blood flowing, you can just simply take one arm up and over. You can even have the other hand on the opposite side of your leg there or your chair, whatever you need. And then other side. So big stretch into that side. And I think that's pretty much everything. So once an hour, get up, get moving, even if you're just sitting in your chair and need to stand up for a few minutes and stretch out the hip flexors or wrists or whatnot, especially your head, neck, and shoulders. And then join our classes. They're free right now. Online on Instagram, you can check us out. And I think that's it. So join me tonight if you like 5 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you, Sharon and Avery. That
Yeah.
was extremely helpful. Sharon, I actually did it with you, and now I feel much more energetic right now.
Oh,
and
good.
Keep on forgetting that we really need to stretch our bodies and move on. And
Yeah.
already much
It's,
different.
yeah, especially sitting so long and like, yeah, tensing up the shoulders and stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And definitely I will be attending your classes. Pilates classes for tonight?
Yeah, tonight is Pilates, but also every Wednesday I teach a stretch class, and it's a full body stretch class. So everything from the head to the toes, it's the 50 minutes long. And so that's a good way to release tension and get a good stretch going.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharon.
You're
And this
welcome.
is Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye. So I hope all of you have engaged and took a break and stretched around. And now it's our time. I'm gonna give you maybe a break, a screen break, so then you can do your stretch, and we will resume at 11:45. So it's 6 minutes. You have 6 minutes break right now, and I'll be back and for our next presentation. Thank you. So welcome back. You know, we've given you those few minutes as to do some stretching and so forth. So I would be right now talking to you about some of our plans that we have prepared for you before we go into our virtual tours. So I will. Can I have the slides? I will actually, you know, like talk about engineering your future here, starting with the online learning. In this challenging, as you know, and I will repeat myself and the other speakers, as we know that in this challenging time, the university has been closely following the events of the public health authorities and local, provincial, federal governments' recommendations of the outbreak and the spread of the coronavirus. The health of our incoming students and their families, as well as, of course, our faculty and staff, is a top priority at Ryerson. So given all what we know and what we can anticipate based on the information from the Centers for Diseases and Control and Prevention, we need to proceed with abundance of caution and provide at the same time as best we can a Ryerson experience for our new students. With all this in mind, we again welcome you to our first virtual full-fledged semester experience. The online learning will offer you the same, exactly the same information, if it is not better, that you would actually receive in person. We also have the one-on-one video conferencing advising sessions. I'll talk about them a bit later. With an advisor during these video sessions, we will work with you to explore your academic options. And also, if you are interested in dropping, adding, swapping, to finalize all your full course schedules to suit your interests. In addition, through the special online resources that we prepared for you, you will learn about our innovative online semester. I advise advise you to navigate the first year engineering office website, the handbook, which has a lot of information for you to observe. And also, most importantly, I would advise you strongly to download the first year engineering app, where you have a lot of information. All of them are designed to familiarize you with important details about your new journey at Ryerson University. Here, you can find anything from course registration, financial aid, mental health, everything, well-being, and to what you can expect in the first year. For the next slide, I will first like to introduce you to our first year engineering office team. And we are here, to assist you, and they are all professional staff in the first year engineering office. And you can consider it as our one-stop full service support system for our first year students. We will provide you with expert advising and support from admission until the end of your first year, and information on, of course, scholarships and so many other things. So our first year engineering office team is dedicated to helping you succeed in your first year. We also provide you with administrative support for your academic matters at Ryerson. So I encourage you to come and check us out online. We have created a virtual room for the first year office. You will be greeted by one of our staff or one of our ambassadors. And we have developed several supportive videos on several academic matters, such as swapping, adding, and dropping courses. Check them out on our YouTube channels. The central missions of our first year engineering office is to help make your transition from high school to university smooth, especially under this new norms that we are going through. We have developed and designed very innovative programs to help you succeed and to help you reach to the specific needs and supports that you have. So basically, we thought the next slide. So basically, we thought of, what should we do as a first-year engineering office, handles all the academic and administrative matters associated with mostly common first year of engineering at Ryerson. So again, I will encourage you to visit our advising room, where you can, they will ask you several questions and you tell them what you need. And even if you need to meet with an advisor, they'll book an appointment for you to meet with an advisor, such as myself, and Shazma is an academic advisor. And we will have one-on-one meetings. And for the next slide, for the virtual advising room, you have the timings for our virtual advising room, which is from Monday to Friday. We have, morning and the afternoon, and we might increase the hours. And you also, if you are requesting an academic advising session, you can request either to do it by phone or by video conferencing. Video conferencing meaning we can have a Zoom meeting with each other, or use Google Hangout, anything that you might think would suit you, we will try to accommodate it. For our next slide here, I'm just going to give you some general advice. I don't want to, bore you right now, but as a general advice for academic advising and student responsibilities here at Ryerson, we understand that the academic advising is a collaborative work between the students and the advisor. So we always ask you to when you come for advising, to come prepared and ready and have your questions, so then we can support you and give you whatever you need. So what is the academic advising? Academic advisor, or what is the academic advisors, are here to monitor students' progress in their program, provide the information on academic requirements, help students plan their future until graduation, and also serve as a campus resource for you. So again, visit your virtual advising room and ask for to book an appointment with an academic advisor. For our next slide, now to give you, because it is a collaboration between the advisor and the students. So what are the advisor's responsibilities? It is to facilitate degree and class decision making. So depending on what program you choose to be, we understand, a lot of usually from our experience, a lot of students actually change their programs in the first semester. You understand that the first semester is common to all engineering students. So all of you are taking the same courses. And one important course that you take, which is Introduction to Engineering, which we will invite all our program directors from the different programs. We do have 8 different programs: aerospace engineering, biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and computer engineering. So here are 8. Some of you might be on an undeclared program. By the end of the semester, you will need to really declare your program. But a lot of students also change their programs. So based on what program you are in, you might have different classes, different plans for the future. The advisor will help you in deciding, should you take the full load? Because actually you do not have to take the full load. It is a heavy load that you will be asked to do 6 courses. It's a heavy load. I usually advise students, maybe right now you drop your elective course. You know, you can do it anytime later, but it's really up to you. We will leave it up to you. And some students would like to do the first year to divide it into 2 years. And we do have a program called First Year in 2. So then to you know, get familiarized to university courses, because they are completely different than what you have experienced in the past in high school. Also, the advisor will serve as a referral agent for you, help you navigate the campus and the university resources, and respond to you without any judgment. While your responsibility as a student, the advisee responsibility, we want you to, as we said, be prepared and be proactive and an active participant. Ask a lot of questions, take responsibilities of your decision, and take ownership of your degree. Let's work together towards your goal, your main goal, or your main discipline that you are dreaming to become. For the Undergraduate Advising and Academic Support Office, our office here, the first year office, how our office can support you, it's advise the first year engineering students to whether they are on a declared or an undeclared engineering students. We will give you, the first year office will give you general education questions, university policies, talk to you about the policies, about show you the program, the first year engineering courses, help students develop maybe a 4-year plan, you know, from the beginning. And also we look at the transfer credits and maintain your first year student record. I would like also to pinpoint for you the semester important dates, and these are very important. As you understand, in university, you will be responsible in every action, in every decision you make. It's not like high school. High school used to really maybe notify you, like your instructor or professor, your teacher keeps on telling you about the assignment, about the deadlines and everything like this. While in the university, we do send you information through emails, through notifications, and we tell you about those dates, and it's up to you to reach them. And if you do not make your decisions before these dates, unfortunately, it will not be changed. So, like the important dates, as we know that we start our classes next week. The Monday, of course, it's Labor Day. And we start classes on September 8th. And one of the most important date is September 18th. This is the final date for payment of your undergraduate fees. It's the final date to add undergraduate course or change a course, add or drop, swap different sections. You will see, as a first year student, all our students have been loaded with their courses, excepting the liberal electives. The liberal electives, it is your responsibility to go and choose it, because we cannot choose the course for you. You can choose from table A, any liberal elective course, while the other courses have been uploaded for you in your on your RAMs. However, I would like to ask you and to make sure that all these 5 courses, which is CN 100 Introduction to Engineering, Chemistry 102, CHY 102, and the Calculus 140, MTH 140, and Linear Algebra, MTH 141, and the Physics Mechanics, PCS 211. Make sure that these courses are uploaded for you. If it is not, that means there has been a mistake. And again, I will ask you and let you know that you can drop any of them. Just book an appointment with an advisor, and we can look at your load and what do you have, other responsibilities you have. For the next slide, making a successful transition to your Ryerson University. We always ask and advise you to act responsibly and professionally. Also adhere to the Ryerson University's Code of Academic Integrity, and especially now we're doing everything online. Know your professors' expectations, and this is during the expectations are usually written in your course outline. Read the course outline. It is a contract between you and your professor, so make sure to read them very thoroughly. And be aware of communication etiquettes, how you write your emails to your professors or to any staff member on the Ryerson, or even to your peers. Be careful of what you put on public websites, such as Facebook. We have seen some students have been given some disciplinary action because of what they have put. So make sure now you are responsible, you're an adult, you need to really make sure what you put on your Facebook that is legal and okay to use. There are appropriate times for text messaging and cell phone usage. And of course, during class, even if it is online, during class and during any meeting between you and an advisor, it's not the appropriate time. So be proactive and take ownership of your degree. Also, we advise you to attend all your classes. Do not procrastinate because it is online. Go to your classes. Identify your best time of the day to study. Study in groups. We are creating and we are encouraging for you to really make online groups and studying groups. Avoid any type of distraction. At the first sign of trouble, of course, get help. You've heard it from all of us here who talk to you, especially from Blake, from our dean. Just get help. Go and ask questions. Help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of knowledge, and knowledge makes power. Okay, take advantage of the available resources that you have here. Take advantage of your professors because they do have office hours, and advisors, your peers, your ambassadors. Of course, make sure to adhere to the deadlines that we have for you, and I spoke to you about those deadlines. For the next slide, it's also to continue with the successful transition to a university. Get involved with an engineering student society. Some students have presented to you, RAS, the Ryerson Student Society, and during the pre-orientations, it doesn't matter if you have attended them or you did not attend them, but we do have a lot of activities that was there. You can actually go back and watch those videos and to see what other organizations are available for students. Strive for balance in your schedule. Plan time for study, for exercise, meals, and sleep. Time management is the key. Be realistic about the amount of work that you can do in a given period. We usually suggest, in terms of studying, we suggest 2 hours per lecture hour for any lecture hour that you take, and also treat school as a full-time job. It is it depends on, of course, how many courses that you take, especially first year university. We advise you not to take up a lot of aside jobs. Make sure that you are dedicated for your studies, and read, of course, your email, updated email. For the next slide, what is your academic framework here? Engineering coursework is built upon foundations of math and science. So that is usually what is called engineering is applied science. So that's why your first year engineering courses mainly are science courses. So that's why you take the calculus, the linear algebra, the chemistry, the physics, and the next semester you take again second calculus. calculus 2, and you take another physics course, and you take computer science courses. So all these science courses are the foundation of our engineering courses. So interdependency of knowledge, you need those prerequisites and core requisites before you go into an engineering courses. The only engineering course actually in the first year of your first year is really the introduction to engineering. You will get to do projects, and you will get, we said earlier, you will get to learn about different programs, and you will have a lot of orientation on the different policies, and hopefully you learn a lot from there. And there should be there is an emphasis on retaining knowledge. So make sure to really do as best as you can on those first years. So and that's why like if you do poorly in a few courses, we really do advise you to repeat them, because the rest of the engineering courses are dependent on your foundational courses. So study to learn. We advise you study to learn, not to pass the classes. So barely passing, it doesn't mean it is a pass for engineering. Also, one announcement that I would like to emphasize, that there will not be any labs or tutorials in the first week of classes. So make sure you go and you attend your lectures, but not your tutorials or labs. I will talk that later on in our introduction to engineering, because I will be actually your instructor in the introduction to engineering course. So I would like to thank you, and on behalf of our first year engineering team, thank you, and we wish you we wish that you enjoy your Frosh week, the rest of your Frosh week. And I would like also to remind you that the next step, you will go into breakout rooms, and then you will actually have your writing skill test. Writing skill test will happen later on, and it will be at 3 o'clock, and so do not forget to go for that. So from me here and from the first year engineering office, I wish you the best and good luck. Bye-bye.